The cosmos projects an image of profound silence, but that silence is an illusion. Scattered across the galaxy are immense clouds of gas and dust, the nurseries of stars, long thought to be passive scenery in the vast dark. Yet these very clouds are broadcasting strange and powerful signals that defy all scientific explanation. Today, we will journey into the heart of this mystery, uncovering 25 of the most bewildering interstellar enigmas ever detected. You will discover signals that mimic technology, pulses that vanish without a trace, and whispers that seem to carry a message. What do these cosmic anomalies mean for our understanding of the universe, and could they be evidence of something beyond our current physics? What does it truly mean to be alone in the cosmos? That profound silence was first punctuated by a single, shocking event. The WOW signal, detected in 1977, remains one of the most famous cosmic mysteries. It was a powerful, narrowband radio burst that lasted for 72 seconds and then vanished forever. But it was not alone. Years later, a strikingly similar signal was captured, one that has remained in the shadow of its famous predecessor. This enigmatic pulse appeared to emanate not from empty space, but from the heart of a massive, swirling cloud of hydrogen gas in the constellation Sagittarius. The signal hit the same specific frequency as the WOW event, the resonant frequency of hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. Its intensity was staggering, a sharp, brilliant spike against the natural background radio whisper of the gas cloud itself. This location is the central puzzle. A dense interstellar cloud is a chaotic, turbulent place where natural processes should produce broad, messy radio emissions. For such a clean, powerful, and artificial-seeming signal to come from within that chaos is like hearing a perfect, crystalline symphony broadcast from the heart of a raging hurricane. It defies all known astrophysical processes. The gas cloud itself cannot create such a signal, which points to a potential source within the cloud, or perhaps something beyond it, using the cloud as a cosmic lens or a backdrop. This makes the possibility of an artificial origin, while completely unproven, a tantalizing thread that scientists continue to pull. Was it a natural phenomenon we simply do not yet understand, or was it a deliberate broadcast, a single, fleeting hello lost in the interstellar winds? That single, perfect signal from Sagittarius was not a solitary event. Deep within the sword of the Orion constellation, hidden within the swirling veils of the Orion molecular cloud, another mystery was quietly repeating itself. Astronomers detected a series of exceptionally faint radio whispers, so quiet they were almost lost in the cosmic static. What made them extraordinary was their rhythm. These whispers arrived with a precise, unerring periodicity, like a cosmic metronome ticking away in the dark. This was not the chaotic roar of a stellar nursery or the random sputter of distant energy. It was a pattern. The signal also possessed an incredibly narrow bandwidth, meaning it was focused on one very specific radio frequency, much like a finely tuned radio station. Natural cosmic objects like pulsars, which are spinning neutron stars, do emit regular pulses, but their signals are broad and messy, spanning a wide range of frequencies. The clean, narrow, and repeating nature of the Orion whisper rules out a pulsar. Similarly, natural amplifiers in space called masers can produce bright radio emissions, but they do not create such perfectly timed and focused pulses. The source of this signal seems to be doing something that known physics cannot easily explain. It is as if you were walking through a dense, roaring jungle and heard, from deep within the foliage, the consistent, gentle ticking of a clock. This has led to profound questions. Could this be an advanced form of communication, a beacon purposefully designed to be found against the noisy backdrop of a gas cloud? Or are we witnessing a completely unknown quantum phenomenon, where the bizarre rules that govern the subatomic world manifest on a gigantic scale within these dense cosmic structures? The repeating whisper from Orion does not shout its presence like the wow signal. It simply persists, a quiet, patient enigma waiting for us to understand its language. The quiet rhythm of Orion's whispers gives way to a roar from the depths of another stellar nursery. In a distant, churning cloud where new stars are being born, astronomers detected a signal so powerful it rewrote the rules of cosmic physics. This was a methanol maser, a natural cosmic laser that uses methanol gas to amplify radio waves. But this particular maser was anything but natural. Its intensity was staggering, blazing with the power of 1 billion suns, and its spectral line was impossibly pure, a single, sharp note held against the chaotic symphony of the star-forming region. Known stellar formation models predict masers of a certain strength, a gentle hum from the energetic birth of a star. This was a scream. The energy required to power such an emission is orders of magnitude greater than anything a young star or its surrounding disk of material could possibly produce. It is as if a single candle flickering in a vast hall suddenly erupted with the blinding light of 1,000 searchlights. The purity of the signal is another profound puzzle. A natural maser has a slight, expected waver in its frequency, a product of the turbulent gas that creates it. This maser's signal was flawless, a perfect, unwavering tone that suggests an amplification process we have never seen before. Could some unknown structure within the cloud be focusing this energy, acting as a natural cosmic lens of unimaginable power? Or does the energy source lie outside the cloud entirely, a beam of power directed into the gas to create this brilliant, anomalous flare? This is not merely a loud signal, it is a signal that should not, by our current understanding of the universe, be possible at all. What force, natural or otherwise, could possibly be responsible for turning a stellar nursery into the most powerful radio transmitter in the galaxy? While the Orion signal roared with impossible power, the Taurus molecular cloud presented a mystery of eerie intelligence. Deep within its dark, swirling folds, astronomers captured a narrowband radio signal that behaved unlike any natural emission ever seen. It began as a steady, pure tone, but then it started to drift. Its frequency slowly, deliberately slid higher, as if the source were moving away at a constant, controlled acceleration. This is exactly how human-made satellites behave, their signals Doppler shifted by their motion relative to Earth. To find this signature of technology emanating from a primordial gas cloud was deeply unsettling. Natural cosmic objects do not change frequency in such a smooth, linear fashion. A spinning pulsar signal might shift, but in a complex, wobbling pattern. This was different. It was a clean glide, a deliberate sweep across the radio spectrum that mimicked a transmitter on a controlled, high-speed trajectory. The gas cloud itself is a chaotic environment, a place of random turbulence and violent gravitational forces. For a signal to maintain such perfect, artificial-seeming coherence within that chaos defies explanation. It is as if you are listening to the random cracks and booms of a thunderstorm and suddenly heard the clear, rising whistle of a train, a sound that implies an engineer, a track, and a destination. This strange, drifting signal was not the only anomaly Taurus held. From the same vast cloud, a separate event erupted with apocalyptic force. Astronomers witnessed a single, colossal broadband burst, a blast of radio energy that exploded across a wide range of frequencies simultaneously. In mere milliseconds, this event released more energy than our sun puts out over several days. Then, just as suddenly, it was gone. There was no lingering afterglow, no expanding shockwave, and no cataclysmic event like a supernova or star collision to explain it. It was a cosmic flashbang, detonating in the darkness and leaving behind only silence and confusion. The sheer power is difficult to comprehend. Imagine the entire electrical grid of our planet, concentrated into a single, brilliant flash of light lasting less than the blink of an eye. Now multiply that energy by billions. That is the scale of this burst. Such a tremendous release of energy must have a source, a cosmic engine of unimaginable violence. Yet searches for a remnant, a neutron star merger, a black hole birth, or even a dying star have found absolutely nothing. The Taurus cloud simply swallowed the event whole, offering no clue to its origin. One signal drifted with artificial precision, while the other exploded with natural yet inexplicable fury. Together, they present a profound contradiction. Is Taurus home to a technology so advanced it can mimic natural motion, and a natural phenomenon so powerful it defies all known physics? Or are these two bizarre events somehow impossibly connected? The drifting signal from Taurus revealed a cosmos capable of mimicking technology, but a discovery within the Ophiuchus cloud presented a paradox that strikes at the very foundation of interstellar communication. Astronomers detected a signal precisely at the 21-centimeter line, the universal fingerprint of neutral hydrogen. This frequency is the universe's most basic and common channel, a natural radio whisper emitted by the single most abundant element in the cosmos. It is the last place you would expect to find a mystery, yet that is exactly what appeared. The signal was far too strong, a booming voice where only a soft murmur should exist. Its intensity suggested the hydrogen was not just passively emitting its natural signal, but was being used, its quiet hum somehow amplified to a shout. Furthermore, the signal was not a steady, natural tone. It carried a subtle, complex modulation, a pattern of slight rises and falls in its strength that could not be explained by the simple physics of a drifting gas cloud. This is the hydrogen line anomaly, and it presents two equally staggering possibilities. The first is that we are witnessing a natural process of interstellar interaction, so advanced we have no physics to describe it, a phenomenon where energy is transferred and focused within hydrogen clouds in a way we never imagined. The second possibility is even more profound. What if the hydrogen itself is being used as a medium? An advanced civilization would know that any species developing radio astronomy would eventually listen to the 21-centimeter line. It is the cosmic equivalent of tuning to the most popular radio station in the galaxy. By placing a powerful, modulated signal exactly on that frequency, a beacon ensures it will be found. It would be like discovering that the gentle, ever-present sound of the ocean waves was suddenly carrying a hidden, intelligible message within its roar. The signal from Ophiuchus does not just ask what is out there, it asks if the very fabric of the universe, the common hydrogen that binds the galaxy together, can be made to speak. The universe's hidden language is not spoken only in radio waves. Within that same enigmatic Ophiuchus cloud, where hydrogen seemed to whisper a coded message, a different kind of light suddenly blazed into existence. An infrared telescope captured a brilliant flare, a sudden and intense pulse of heat radiation erupting from a region of the cloud that was thought to be cold, dark, and quiescent. This was not the gentle warmth of a forming star, but a violent, localized eruption of infrared energy that appeared from nowhere and then faded away. The search for a cause only deepened the mystery. There were no embedded protostars, no young stellar objects undergoing violent outbursts. The surrounding dust was not being heated by any external source that astronomers could identify. This was not the aftermath of a cataclysmic event like a supernova, which would have left other clear signatures across the electromagnetic spectrum. This was a silent, heat-based explosion with no apparent trigger. So what could possibly cause a cold gas cloud to suddenly flare with such intense, isolated heat? One speculative idea points towards something known as cryogenic computing. Imagine a vast, alien supercomputer operating at temperatures near absolute zero for maximum efficiency, buried deep within the protective shroud of the cloud. If such a structure were to suffer a catastrophic malfunction or perhaps execute an unimaginably powerful calculation, the sudden release of its stored energy could manifest as a massive, brief infrared flare. Another, even more exotic possibility involves the decay of strange matter. Theoretical physics suggests that exotic particles or states of matter could be stable within the cold, dense interiors of these clouds. If a pocket of this exotic matter were to suddenly decay, transforming into conventional particles, it would release a tremendous burst of energy primarily as heat. This event would be a silent, invisible conversion on a subatomic scale, creating a flash of infrared light with no accompanying flash of visible light or radio noise. The unexplained infrared flare is a ghost in the machine of the cosmos, a thermal signature with no source, reminding us that some of the universe's greatest secrets are not heard but felt as heat in the dark. The silent heat of a hidden explosion gives way to a different kind of mystery, one not of energy but of absence. From the sprawling, dark nebula of the Rho-Ophiuchi cloud complex, a symphony of radio noise suddenly organized itself into a coherent signal. It was not a simple blast or a single tone, but a complex, structured pattern of pulses and pauses, a sequence that hinted at a profound complexity. For 72 consecutive hours, this intricate signal poured into radio telescopes across the globe, a data stream from the void that scientists scrambled to record and decode. It was as if a door to another reality had been propped open just for 3 days, and we were listening to the conversation on the other side. Then, with the precision of a scheduled broadcast, it stopped. The signal did not fade or sputter out. It simply ceased as if a switch had been thrown, plunging that specific frequency back into the natural, formless radio hiss of the cloud. The immediate reaction was to point every available dish back at that precise point in the sky. Weeks turned into months, then years of relentless searching. But the signal was gone. It never returned. The total and permanent silence that followed is as unsettling as the signal itself. Natural cosmic events, even the most violent, leave behind evidence. They have an aftermath, a remnant, a change in the environment. This event left nothing. It was a cosmic performance for an audience of one, a message delivered and then erased without a trace. This behavior fuels a haunting line of speculation. Was it a one-time natural event of a kind we have never witnessed, a brief cosmic circuit that formed in the cloud and then permanently shorted out? Or does its structured nature and clean termination point to something else entirely? A deliberately terminated transmission, perhaps a warning, a test, or a single packet of information sent our way before the sender moved on, its purpose fulfilled. The signal that vanished left behind no answers, only the chilling certainty that for 3 days in the vast, cold dark, something made itself known and then chose silence. The profound silence that followed the vanished transmission was eventually broken by 2 of the most hotly debated signals ever recorded. From the Cygnus X region, a vast and turbulent stellar nursery, came a pair of anomalies that seemed to speak the language of mathematics itself. The first was a sequence of sharp, distinct pulses. At first glance, they appeared random, but analysis revealed a chilling pattern. The intervals of silence between each pulse were not chaotic. They followed a precise mathematical sequence, a series of prime numbers. This was not the gentle rhythm of a pulsar, but a deliberate, intellectual structure. Prime numbers are fundamental to mathematics, unique in that they are only divisible by themselves and one. They hold no special significance in known astrophysics, but they are the building blocks of encryption and a universal concept any technological civilization would recognize. It was as if someone were tapping out a simple, elegant code on a cosmic keyboard, establishing a baseline of shared knowledge. This mathematical whisper was soon joined by a far more complex partner from the same cloud. A second signal arrived, broadcasting on 2 distinct radio frequencies simultaneously. This in itself was unusual, but the real mystery was in how these 2 waves interacted. They were not independent. The data carried on one frequency seemed to actively correct and verify the data on the other. This is a hallmark of human digital communication systems, a technique known as error correction coding. It is what allows a data file to be sent across a noisy network and arrive perfectly intact, with the receiver able to detect and fix any corruption that occurred during transmission. To find this sophisticated technological signature emerging from a cloud of primordial gas and dust is staggering. The combined evidence of the prime number sequence and the dual frequency error correction creates a compelling yet fiercely contested argument. Could this be the first real evidence of an artificial signal, a beacon designed not just to be noticed but to be understood? Or is nature once again playing a trick on us, creating patterns so complex they mimic the very essence of technology through some unknown and utterly natural physical process? The signals from Cygnus do not offer answers. They present a cosmic riddle, forcing us to question whether we are listening to the universe's random noise or to a message patiently waiting to be decoded. The mathematical perfection of the Cygnus signals suggests a universe that can communicate with logic and precision. Yet sometimes the cosmos presents a puzzle based not on pattern but on contradiction. Deep within the Cepheus constellation, a seemingly ordinary gas cloud exhibits a behavior so bizarre it appears to break a fundamental law of physics. This is the anti-correlation conundrum. Normally, when a cosmic object gets brighter in one type of light, it gets brighter in others. A cloud energized by a nearby star, for example, will glow more intensely across multiple frequencies. But this cloud operates in perfect opposition. When its radio emission intensifies, its microwave emission weakens in a direct lockstep relationship. When one rises, the other falls with the precision of a balanced scale. This is not a random fluctuation. It is a perfect inverse dance of energy that should be impossible. Think of it like a single volume knob that controls two speakers, but when you turn it to make the left speaker louder, the right speaker becomes quieter by the exact same amount. Our current models of radiative transfer, which are the rules that describe how energy moves through and is emitted by cosmic gas, have no explanation for this. These models predict that the different emissions should be correlated, rising and falling together as the cloud's energy changes. This perfect anti-correlation implies a hidden process, a secret mechanism within the cloud that is actively siphoning energy from one band of the spectrum and transferring it to another. It is as if the cloud itself possesses a form of cosmic thermodynamics we have never seen, a natural engine that prioritizes one type of emission at the direct expense of another. What could possibly be inside that cloud to cause such a coordinated theft of energy? Could there be an unknown particle or a quantum effect playing out on a galactic scale that forces this strict energy budget? This is not a loud signal or a coded message. It is a silent, fundamental disagreement between the cloud and our understanding of reality, a quiet proof that even the most basic rules of the universe might still have exceptions. The universe's quiet defiance of physics is not limited to the dance of energy. From the heart of a seemingly ordinary, diffuse gas cloud comes a signal that challenges our understanding of light itself. This is the polarization paradox. When radio waves travel through the chaos of space, their waves typically vibrate in all directions like a tangled ball of string. But this particular signal is different. Its waves are perfectly aligned, vibrating in a single, locked direction across an immense expanse. This is what scientists call high linear polarization. It is a state of perfect, pristine order emerging from cosmic disorder. For such a signal to maintain this rigid alignment over the vast distances it travels is the central mystery. Space is filled with magnetic fields that twist and warp radio waves, scrambling their polarization like a child shaking a jar of pickup sticks. Natural cosmic magnets, like those around pulsars or within turbulent gas clouds, cannot maintain this perfect alignment over such a scale. The signal should have dispersed, its orderly waves becoming a jumbled mess long before it reached our telescopes. the fact that it did not suggests one of two staggering possibilities. Either the signal originates from an engineered source, a transmitter designed to project a perfectly coherent beam, much like a laser pointer shining through fog. Or we are witnessing a fundamentally new magnetic phenomenon, a region of space where magnetic fields are so unnaturally uniform and powerful that they act as a cosmic guide, preserving the signal's pristine state across light years. This paradox forces a profound question. Are we detecting a natural structure in the universe that functions like a perfect magnetic lens, or are we intercepting a beam of communication, a lighthouse signal so advanced that its very coherence is a signature of its design? This ghost pulsar ticks with an unnerving perfection. Deep within the veils of an interstellar cloud, astronomers detected the unmistakable rhythm of a spinning neutron star, a rapid metronomic pulse that arrived with atomic clock regularity. But when they pointed their most powerful telescopes to find the source, they found only empty space. There was no neutron star, no white dwarf, no rotating object of any kind. The pulsar was a phantom. A real pulsar is a city-sized cinder of a dead star, spinning hundreds of times per second and blasting out beams of radiation like a cosmic lighthouse. The energy and stability of such a signal demand an object of incredible density and powerful magnetic fields. The ghost pulsar possesses the same flawless rhythm and power, yet it emanates from a diffuse cloud of gas and dust, a region utterly incapable of hosting such a compact, violent object. It is as if you heard the steady, powerful thrum of a massive engine from the center of an empty, quiet field. The gas cloud itself cannot spin fast enough to create such a signal without tearing itself apart. So what is creating this perfect, powerful imitation? One possibility is that we are witnessing a form of natural interstellar mimicry. Perhaps some chaotic process within the cloud, like swirling magnetic fields or cascading shock waves, is somehow focusing and pulsing ambient radiation, creating a precise echo of a phenomenon that is not actually there. Another, more unsettling idea involves signal propagation. Could the signal be real, but its source is not within the cloud at all? Is some distant, unknown object hidden far beyond the cloud, using the cloud's own structure as a gravitational lens to bend and focus its signal, creating a perfect, focused pulse that appears to originate from within the emptiness? This ghost pulsar does more than mimic a dead star. It challenges our most basic assumptions about where signals can come from and what the empty spaces between the stars can hide. The ghost pulsar's empty rhythm gives way to an even stranger phenomenon, an echo from the past that seems to defy the very nature of light and space. From the dark molecular clouds of the Lupus constellation, astronomers witnessed a cosmic déjà vu. A known gamma-ray burst, a titanic explosion from a distant galaxy, was recorded streaking across the sky. Years later, from the same region of Lupus, an identical signal was detected. It was a perfect replica of that original cataclysm, a fingerprint of energy that should have been unique. But this echo arrived from a slightly different direction, and its timing was all wrong. Light travels at one speed in a straight line. An echo should follow the same path, merely bouncing off a surface. This signal did not do that. It was as if a single clap of thunder in a mountain range was heard directly, and then an identical clap was heard a moment later from a completely different valley, with no mountain in between to create the echo. One theoretical explanation is gravitational lensing, where the immense gravity of a hidden object, like a black hole within the cloud, bends the path of the light, creating a delayed secondary image of the original burst. But the timing and the precision of this echo are far beyond what standard lensing models can produce. It suggests a level of cosmic architecture we cannot yet map, a hidden lens of such perfect curvature that it can capture a single flash of light and bounce a perfect copy back to us years later from an angle we never expected. This is not merely a reflection, it is a replay, and its source remains one of the sky's most guarded secrets. Adding to this enigma is a second, more persistent anomaly from the same Lupus clouds. Beneath the sporadic echoes lies a constant, low-frequency hum, a deep bass note resonating through the cosmic dust. This hum would be unremarkable if it were a formless drone, but it is not. Its intensity rises and falls in a slow, predictable cycle, a rhythm that perfectly matches the cloud's own leisurely rotation. It is as if the entire vast cloud, light years across, is behaving like a gigantic resonant chamber, vibrating in sympathy with its own spin. Think of a wine glass which, when struck, rings with a specific, pure tone determined by its shape and material. The Lupus cloud appears to be doing the same on an interstellar scale, humming its own fundamental frequency into the void. This is profoundly unusual. Gas clouds are chaotic, turbulent entities, not finely tuned instruments. For a cloud's random motions to coalesce into such a coherent, cloud-wide resonance implies a level of internal structure and stability that our models of these nurseries do not account for. It suggests hidden forces or magnetic fields are organizing the cloud's interior, turning it from a random collection of gas into a single, humming entity. This low-frequency drone, modulated by the cloud's own slow dance, is not a shout from the void, but a whisper from the architecture of space itself, a hint that these clouds are not just passive scenery, but may be active, resonant components of the galaxy. The resonant hum of the Lupus cloud speaks of a cosmos filled with hidden structure, but another signal presents an even more fundamental puzzle. From the dark embrace of the Perseus molecular cloud, astronomers captured a radio whisper so pure it defies the inherent chaos of the universe. Every natural signal, from the roar of a quasar to the crackle of a distant star, carries a faint but measurable layer of noise, a static caused by the heat of the source itself and the scattering effects of the interstellar medium. It is an unavoidable signature of nature, the cosmic equivalent of background hiss on an old recording. This signal, however, had a noise floor that pressed against the absolute quantum limit. This is the lowest possible level of noise permitted by the laws of quantum mechanics, a theoretical baseline of purity. Achieving this in a laboratory requires immense technological effort, cooling equipment to near absolute zero and shielding it from all external interference. To find such a pristine signal arriving from light years away, having traveled through the turbulent soup of interstellar space, is like receiving a perfect digital file that has somehow crossed the ocean without a single scratch or error. Natural astrophysical sources are hot and messy, and the space between stars is filled with particles and magnetic fields that inevitably corrupt a signal, adding their own random fingerprint. For a signal to arrive with this quantum-level purity, it implies one of two staggering possibilities. Either the source itself is a naturally occurring quantum phenomenon of a kind we have never imagined, one that generates radio waves with zero thermal signature, or the signal was deliberately crafted. It may have been generated by a technology that operates at the quantum limit, or it was intentionally cleaned of all noise before being transmitted, a feat that would require a profound understanding of both information theory and the specific conditions of the interstellar medium it would travel through. This is not merely a quiet signal, it is a perfect signal, and its existence challenges our most basic assumptions about what is natural and what might be engineered. The perfect quantum whisper was a signal in its most pristine form. Yet the very next discovery suggested the cosmos was not just transmitting, it was broadcasting with the techniques of an engineer. From the inky blackness of the Coalsack Nebula, a cold, dark cloud of dust that blots out the starlight behind it, came a radio signal of breathtaking complexity. It was not a simple tone or a burst. At its core was a powerful carrier wave, a steady, pure frequency that acted like a blank canvas. But on either side of this central frequency, perfectly mirrored, were two fainter waves known as sidebands. This symmetrical structure is the unmistakable fingerprint of amplitude modulation, the very same technology that brought AM radio to the entire world. In human terms, it is how a voice is imposed onto a carrier wave to transmit music and news. The carrier is the powerful, steady hum, and the sidebands are created when information is layered on top, causing the amplitude or strength of the wave to vary. To find this technological signature emerging from a primordial, starless nebula sparked a frantic debate that divided the scientific community. What natural process could possibly create such a precise, man-made structure? One side of the argument points to a phenomenon called parametric amplification, where energy from the cloud itself could theoretically pump the central carrier wave and generate symmetrical sidebands through a nonlinear physical process. The problem is that this requires conditions of incredible stability and energy that are not thought to exist within the chaotic and frigid environment of a dark nebula. It would be like expecting the random churning of the ocean to perfectly carve a complex tuning fork. The other, more unsettling possibility is that we are intercepting a signal that was intentionally modulated. The Coalsack Nebula, a region of profound darkness, would be an ideal place to hide a transmitter, using the dense dust to absorb the background noise of the galaxy and allow this one clean signal to stand out. The presence of symmetrical sidebands implies that there is information encoded within them, a message waiting to be decoded if only we could understand the language used to write it. This is not just a signal, it is a signal with a structure we invented, echoing back at us from the void as if to ask if we are truly alone in our methods of communication. This coordinated cosmic symphony finds its most baffling conductor in a distant cloud within the constellation Aura. Here, astronomers witnessed an event that defies the normal, chaotic release of stellar energy. It was not a random flash in one part of the spectrum followed by a delayed echo in another. Instead, the cloud erupted in a single, perfectly synchronized flash across 3 distinct wavelengths simultaneously: radio, optical, and X-ray. Imagine a giant switchboard lighting up where every single light, from a deep red bulb to a brilliant white beacon to an invisible high-energy indicator, turns on at the exact same instant. This is what the Aura event looked like. In nature, such coordination is unheard of. A supernova, for instance, releases its energy in a messy cascade. The initial shockwave might produce X-rays first, which then heat the surrounding material to produce visible light, and finally trigger radio emissions as the expanding shell interacts with interstellar gas. The process is sequential, taking hours or days to unfold across the spectrum. The Aura burst had no such delay. The radio chirp, the optical flare, and the X-ray blast were all perfectly aligned in time, indicating they were all driven by the same instantaneous cataclysmic trigger. This points to a single, unimaginably powerful engine that can energize a vast volume of gas across all these different physical regimes at once. Known stellar phenomena simply do not work this way. A flaring star might produce X-rays and some optical light, but not a coordinated radio burst. An accretion disk around a black hole can produce X-rays and light, but their emissions are turbulent and unsynchronized. The Aura event was a precision instrument of destruction, a cosmic bomb that detonated with such finesse that it tuned an entire cloud to resonate in perfect harmony across the spectrum. The energy required is staggering, but the true mystery is the control. What natural force could possibly orchestrate such a perfectly timed, multi-wavelength explosion, turning a chaotic gas cloud into a unified beacon for a single brilliant moment? Our galaxy's chaotic center holds whispers that defy its own violent noise. Deep within the swirling maelstrom of gas and dust that orbits the supermassive black hole at the Milky Way's heart, 2 faint but persistent signals have been isolated from the roar. The first is a symphony of chaos, a signal so complex that its random-seeming patterns contain more information entropy than the cosmic microwave background itself. Information entropy is a measure of unpredictability and complexity. The cosmic microwave background is the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, the the most complex natural signal we know, a snapshot of the infant universe's entire structure. For a signal from a simple gas cloud to contain even more raw, unstructured information is like finding a single, raging river that carries more water than every other river on Earth combined. It should not be possible. This signal is not a clean, artificial tone, but a roaring, turbulent waterfall of data, a natural process generating complexity on a scale that dwarfs the birth of the cosmos. What could possibly be happening in that cloud to produce such an endless, intricate torrent of radio noise? It suggests a hidden engine of chaos, a natural supercomputer of unimaginable scale, running a program we cannot begin to decipher. In stark contrast to that chaotic torrent, a second signal from the same violent region exhibits an almost supernatural clarity. It is a steady, ultra-narrowband beacon, a single, pure note that cuts through the intense radio noise of the galactic center as if it were not even there. The environment around our galaxy's core is a cacophony of screaming pulsars, the roar of heated gas, and the general radio bedlam of billions of stars. For a faint, narrow signal to emerge unscathed from that auditory hurricane is the true mystery. It is the cosmic equivalent of hearing a lone, perfectly tuned violin playing a single, sustained note from the center of a roaring heavy metal concert. Natural signals are broad and get lost in such noise or are swallowed by it entirely. This beacon's incredible narrowness and stability suggest it is either being generated by a technology designed specifically to punch through interference, or it is being projected by a source so powerful that the galactic background static is nothing but a minor inconvenience. It simply does not behave like anything else in that chaotic realm. Is this the signature of a civilization that has learned to broadcast from the noisiest neighborhood in the galaxy? Or is it evidence of a new, fundamental physics that allows for perfect coherence in the most hostile environments imaginable? Together, these two whispers from the abyss present a perfect contradiction, one of overwhelming complexity and one of impossible purity, forcing us to wonder if the center of our galaxy holds not just a monster black hole, but a library and a lighthouse. A signal from the Aquila dark cloud complex presents a paradox that seems to ignore one of the most fundamental rules of the cosmos. We know this cloud is racing through space at an immense velocity, thousands of kilometers per second, as part of the galaxy's grand rotation. This motion should leave a clear fingerprint on any signal it emits, a Doppler shift that stretches or compresses the light, just as the pitch of a siren drops as an ambulance speeds past. Yet one particular radio emission from Aquila shows no such shift. Its frequency remains perfectly, unnervingly constant, as if the cloud's colossal speed simply does not exist. It is a stationary broadcast from a source we know is in frantic motion. This defiance of the Doppler effect presents two staggering possibilities, each more profound than the last. The first is that we are witnessing a new, unknown principle of physics, a phenomenon where the fabric of space-time itself within the cloud is somehow decoupled from the cloud's bulk motion, creating a pocket of stationary reality within a rushing river of gas. The second possibility is that the source is not the cloud itself, but something within it that is actively correcting for its own motion. Imagine a lighthouse whose beam is so perfectly stabilized that it always appears motionless to a distant observer, regardless of how the island beneath it might be tossed by storms. This would require a technology of unimaginable sophistication, a transmitter that constantly measures its velocity relative to Earth and adjusts its broadcast frequency in real time to cancel out the Doppler shift, ensuring its signal arrives as a pure, unaltered note. This is not a loud signal or a complex code, but a quiet act of cosmic precision that suggests either a universe far stranger than we thought, or a presence within the dark clouds that has mastered the very laws of motion. Amidst the galactic whirlwind of inexplicable signals, another whisper from the dark clouds suggests a universe not just of pure physics but of complex chemistry. Deep within a cold, starless nebula, a radio telescope captured a signal at a very specific and very surprising frequency. This was not the simple signature of hydrogen or the blast of a maser. It was the unmistakable rotational transition of a complex organic molecule, ethyl alcohol. Every molecule vibrates and rotates in a unique way, emitting a faint radio hum at its own specific frequency, like a microscopic tuning fork. The detection of alcohol in space is not by itself shocking. Tiny amounts of these molecules have been found before, but the intensity of this signal was absurd. It was thousands of times more powerful than any natural molecular emission ever recorded. The amount of alcohol required to produce such a booming radio voice would be enough to fill a trillion oceans. This was not a trace ingredient, this was a reservoir of staggering proportions. So how does a cold, dark cloud of gas become the galaxy's most efficient and most unlikely distillery? Natural processes do form alcohol molecules on the dusty surfaces of ice grains, but at an incredibly slow, inefficient trickle. The sheer volume implied by this signal defies every model of interstellar chemistry. It would require a natural brewery of impossible efficiency, a cosmic factory operating at near 100% yield. This forces a question that straddles the line between astrochemistry and pure speculation. Is this the signature of a naturally occurring molecular forge, a region of space where unknown physical conditions catalyze chemical reactions on an unimaginable scale? Or does this point to something more deliberate? Could we be witnessing the aftermath of targeted molecular synthesis, a process where the very building blocks of life, or perhaps even of complex fuels, are being manufactured in the void? The signal does not carry a coded message, but it speaks a language of profound abundance, suggesting that within the cold dark, the universe may be busy not just with light and energy, but with the silent, patient work of chemistry on a galactic scale. The silent chemistry of dark clouds gives way to a symphony from the wreckage of a dead star. Within the tangled filaments of the IC 443 supernova remnant, a ghostly echo of a stellar cataclysm, radio telescopes captured a sound that should not exist. It was a harmonic series, a perfect chord played on a cosmic scale. The signal began with a deep, resonant fundamental frequency, and layered perfectly atop it were a series of overtones, each one a precise mathematical multiple of that first tone. This is the same structure found in every musical instrument on Earth, from a plucked guitar string to a blown trumpet. The vibrating string creates a main note, the fundamental, and a cascade of quieter, higher-pitched harmonics that give the instrument its unique and rich timbre. In the chaotic aftermath of a supernova, a place of shredded atoms and violent shockwaves, such a pristine musical structure is profoundly unnatural. Natural astrophysical plasmas do not resonate with this kind of perfect, whole-number harmony. They produce noisy, broad-spectrum emissions, the dissonant roar of raw energy. This was different. It was a clean, engineered sounding chord emerging from a cosmic graveyard. The presence of this harmonic series points to a source of incredible stability and precision. One theory suggests a natural but unknown resonant structure within the remnant itself. Perhaps the expanding shell of gas has formed a perfect spherical cavity or a vast vibrating filament, acting like a colossal church bell ringing in the void. The energy from the remnant's central pulsar could be exciting this structure, causing it to vibrate and emit its own pure tone and its harmonic echoes. The other possibility ventures into the realm of speculative technology. Could this be the signature of a system that uses vibrational energy on a stellar scale? An advanced civilization might use resonant principles to harness energy, stabilize a structure, or even communicate, using the supernova remnant itself as a resonant chamber to amplify and project a signal. The harmonic series from IC 443 does not sound like a random blast. It sounds like a note being held, a fragment of a cosmic melody that begs the question of whether we are hearing the death rattle of a star or the first chord of a song we are only just beginning to understand. The universe's silent symphony of chemistry and light was suddenly interrupted by a flash of impossible precision. From the delicate, glowing shell of a planetary nebula, the final breath of a dying star, astronomers witnessed a transient optical laser. It was not the broad, natural glow of excited gas. This was a coherent beam of optical light, a pulse so brilliant and so brief it seemed to slice through the cosmos. Natural space lasers, known as masers, do exist at radio wavelengths where chaotic conditions in gas clouds can create messy amplification. An optical laser is an entirely different phenomenon. It requires a pumped, resonant cavity, a space with mirrored walls that bounce light back and forth, forcing it into a perfectly synchronized, coherent beam. The sheer scale of such a cavity, large enough to be seen across interstellar space, is beyond any known natural process. It would be like finding a single, perfectly cut diamond the size of a solar system. The energy required to pump this laser, to excite the atoms in that vast volume of the nebula simultaneously, is staggering. There is no central star energetic enough to provide that kind of coordinated trigger. This was not the gentle, expanding glow of a star's farewell. It was a single, razor-sharp flash, a cosmic strobe light that ignited and vanished in an instant. The implications are as profound as they are unsettling. Could some unknown quantum effect within the nebula's intricate structure have acted as a natural resonant cavity for one fleeting moment? Or does this brief, impossibly perfect pulse point to something else entirely, an engineered artifact, a beacon of coherent light fired from within a stellar graveyard, a single, flawless signal written in the purest form of energy the universe allows? That final, perfect laser flash seems to signal a universe capable of both beauty and terrifying silence. But one last signal stands apart, not for its technical perfection, but for its profound and chilling narrative. For over 3 decades, a steady, complex transmission poured from a seemingly ordinary gas cloud not far from our own cosmic neighborhood. It was not a simple pulse or a repeating pattern, but a rich, information-dense broadcast, a constant stream of data that varied in subtle, intricate ways. It was the cosmic equivalent of a radio station you could tune into, one that played not music but a symphony of unknown symbols. Then, after decades of unwavering transmission, it stopped. The end was not a fade or a sputter. It was an absolute permanent termination, as if the station had been suddenly and irrevocably taken off the air. The silence that followed was louder than the signal itself. This abrupt and total cessation is what transforms this mystery from a puzzle into a potential warning. In the context of the Fermi paradox, which asks why we see no evidence of other civilizations, there is a haunting concept known as the Great Filter. This is a hypothetical barrier, some catastrophic event or technological trap that prevents life from advancing to the stage of interstellar communication or colonization. The decades-long signal from that nearby cloud presents a terrifying candidate for such a filter. Could we have been listening to the leakage from a civilization that finally reached a point of no return? Perhaps they achieved the technology to broadcast for decades, only to be undone by that very technology, a war fought with unimaginable weapons, an environmental collapse engineered by their own progress, or a synthetic intelligence that turned against them. The signal's richness suggests a society in its prime, a vibrant voice in the galaxy. Its sudden, unceremonious end suggests something snuffed that voice out completely. This interpretation is, of course, speculative. It could be a long-lasting natural phenomenon that simply exhausted its energy source in a way we do not understand. But the timing and the nature of the signal's death are what make it so deeply unsettling. We are left with the ghost of a conversation, a message that was being sent for a human lifetime, and then nothing. It forces us to look at our own world, at our own rapid technological ascent, and wonder if we are listening to a eulogy from the stars, a final broadcast from a civilization that successfully navigated millions of years of evolution, only to meet its end at the height of its power. Is this the answer to the great silence? Not that no one is out there, but that everyone who makes it to the microphone is eventually silenced. That sudden, permanent silence from a decades-long broadcast is perhaps the most chilling answer to a question posed by the physicist Enrico Fermi. If the universe is so vast and so old, he famously asked, then where is everybody? This is the heart of the Fermi paradox, and these interstellar signals offer a deeply unsettling potential explanation. If even a fraction of these anomalies are technosignatures, the fingerprints of advanced intelligence, then their bizarre nature paints a troubling picture of cosmic evolution. Their unexplained origins, their fleeting appearances, and their tendency to mimic natural phenomena suggest that advanced civilizations may not be rare but tragically short-lived. The Great Filter might not be a single event in the distant past, but a recurring danger that every technological society eventually faces, a precipice of self-destruction or technological catastrophe that lies just beyond the horizon of discovery. One moment a civilization is broadcasting a complex, information-rich signal for decades, and the next it vanishes into an eternal quiet. This would mean the galaxy is not empty, but filled with ghosts, the fading echoes of societies that briefly flickered into existence before being extinguished. The alternative is equally profound. Perhaps these civilizations are not dying, but evolving beyond our recognition. The fact that so many of these signals are hidden within the natural radio hum of gas clouds or are perfectly synchronized multi-wavelength events could indicate a deliberate choice. An advanced intelligence might not want to be found by a noisy, emerging species like ours. They could be encrypting their communications within the background static of the universe itself, using stellar nurseries as cosmic smokescreens to hide their conversations from prying ears. In this scenario, the universe is not a silent graveyard, but a crowded room where everyone is whispering, carefully ensuring they are not overheard by the newcomers. Either possibility reshapes our place in the cosmos. We are either alone in a gallery of ruins, listening to the final broadcasts of those who came before us, or we are children in a room of adults who are patiently, intentionally, keeping their conversations just beyond our understanding. The signals from the gas clouds do not tell us which future awaits us, but they do frame the most important question of all. Are we listening to the universe's eulogies, or are we simply not yet fluent in its native language? These cosmic whispers have not gone unanswered. A new generation of tools is being built, designed not just to listen but to understand. The cornerstone of this new era is the Square Kilometre Array, or the SKA, a telescope project of almost unimaginable scale. Its name is literal. When fully operational, its thousands of antennae spread across South Africa and Australia will create a collective listening area of 1 square kilometre, making it the most sensitive radio telescope in human history. It will be so powerful it could detect an airport radar on a planet orbiting a star tens of light years away. This is the machine that will systematically scan the interstellar gas clouds, listening for the faint, repeating whispers and the perfectly engineered signals that our current telescopes can only glimpse. It will have the sensitivity to hear the quietest metronomes and the resolution to pinpoint their location within the swirling chaos of a nebula with breathtaking precision. But a telescope of this power produces a deluge of data, a tidal wave of cosmic information so vast that no team of humans could ever hope to sift through it. This is where the second revolutionary tool enters the search: artificial intelligence. Specially designed machine learning algorithms are being trained to do what our brains cannot. They will process the SKA's raw data in real time, filtering out the known background noise of pulsars, masers, and stellar flares to isolate the true anomalies. These AI systems will not just look for simple patterns, they will be tasked with recognizing the signatures of complexity itself, hunting for signals that exhibit that impossible quantum purity, that symmetrical sideband structure, or that locked Doppler-defying frequency. They are the perfect hunters for the ghosts in the machine. This powerful combination of immense physical scale and sophisticated digital intelligence means we are no longer just passive listeners, hoping to stumble upon a mystery. We are becoming active investigators of the cosmos, armed with a net fine enough to catch the smallest, strangest fish in the cosmic ocean. The hunt for these 25 unexplained signals is about to become the most systematic and profound search for answers humanity has ever undertaken. We are building the instruments that may finally tell us if we are listening to nature's deepest secrets, or to the first faint voices in a conversation that has been waiting for eons to begin. 25 distinct whispers from the dark, each a unique signature of a mystery we cannot yet solve. We have heard the perfect drifting tones that mimic our own satellites and the roaring mazes that burn with the power of a billion suns. We have recorded the mathematical prime number sequences, the signals that carry their own error correction codes, and the eerie silence that followed a decades-long broadcast. Some signals are so pure they defy quantum noise, while others are hidden within the chaotic static of the galactic core. Together, they form a chorus of cosmic anomalies, a symphony of the unexplained that tells us one thing with absolute certainty. The universe is not a quiet, passive void. It is a vibrant, dynamic, and deeply strange place, teeming with phenomena that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. These 25 signals are not merely curiosities. They are signposts pointing toward a reality far richer and more complex than our current science can describe. They challenge us to look at the familiar night sky with new eyes, to see the dark clouds not as empty voids, but as potential screens, lenses, or even habitats for something beyond our current imagination. So the next time you find yourself under a clear, dark sky, look up. Let your gaze settle on the faint, milky band of our galaxy, on the dark patches that seam its bright river. Within those clouds of gas and dust, the true enigmas of our time are quietly broadcasting. The greatest question is no longer whether we are alone, but what we are listening to. If these bewildering signals are not just natural wonders, then what or who are